back to the episode. So the guy who's scared of heights decided to do a project that involved a hot air balloon. Can you talk me through the thought process involved in that, please?
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, yeah, just one of them again, like I say stuff like, like lying to yourself again almost, that you know you can overcome it and do stuff. But this whole project idea anyway came about, it was like lockdown, and I wanted to do something that was different. Like, it was like a bigger one and better one, best one I've done so far, I'd say. And really think outside, what has no one done before? What would I love to see someone do? And why has no one done it? So I remember like walking my dog up the hill behind my house, and just looking out, it was a proper like blue sky, and I was like imagine a floating skate park. I was like, imagine like a floating bowl. And then I was like, but what could you have that under? And then the first idea was like a Chinook helicopter. Yeah. So I was like, one of them. But then I was like, it wouldn't work because Dubai was like jumping into a tornado out of that helicopter. So it just wouldn't, it'd be impossible with a downdraft. So I was like, that won't work. And then I was like, hot air balloon. I was like, that will. So I got up to the top of the hill and I put it in my phone like hot air balloon and a bowl underneath it. And then I came back down from there, pretty much ran down the hill, and sketched it up, sent it to my rebel manager. I was like, what do you think of this? And he's like, what the fuck? he's like, this looks like unreal. Didn't hear anything for a couple of months. He said he'd like show it to Austria, see what they think. And he called me one day, I was driving into Glasgow, and I'll never forget that either. And he was like, how serious are you about doing this project? He's like, I'm in Austria right now. Everyone here wants to see you do it. Like, would you seriously do this? And I was like, 100%, mate. Like, let's build it and let's go and do it. And so right away we got on it. We built one out of wood, which weighed like 8 tons.
Right.
And we were like, or 8.5 tons. So me and George, the guy that I live with, and that, and Jake, built this bowl. And we designed a bowl that was super tight and like my kind of riding and what I could do now, because I didn't want to just do a boring half pipe or something, or bowl. But so we built that 8.5 tons it came in at, and then we're like, well, we can't fly that. Like, can you? And then it was like, turns out you can't. It's too heavy. So then we went to Rebel Racing and we're like, can we build one out of carbon fiber? And they were like, yep. Like, I feel like those guys really enjoyed the task of doing that, and it was something totally different, obviously. But they were all sound, so I ended up working on it with them, which was unbelievable.
Unreal,
and to see what goes into that is, it's unreal. And as well, they got it right first try. That was one try. They built that whole bowl. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was going to take a few attempts or this and that, but honestly, they made this thing out of carbon. And it came in at, I think it was like, was it 2.5 tons?
Wow.
So they shaved off like so, yeah.
So that was 8.5 to 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
2.5 tons of carbon.
Yeah. Which is unreal. But I remember going and seeing it, and I was like, looked at it, but it was like super thin. It was like that. And I was like, what happens if a peg goes through it, and then the bottom like smack, and I go through it? But they're like, it'll never happen. You can hit that with a hammer like as hard as you can, and you will not go through that. But it's like nothing I've never rode before. It rode real fast on the tires. And it flexed as well like a trampoline, so it was a bit weird.
So is that with it on the floor as well?
Yeah, that was it on the floor.
Right.
And it made a weird noise when you're riding it. Like,
did it?
Yeah, but it was insane.
Hey, people got creative in lockdown, huh?
Yeah,
you probably got the most creative out of anyone in the world. I think. So yeah, like people went wild in lockdown. You went really wild in lockdown.
I think that was it. I just stuck at home. I was like, I'm going to use it as fuel and try and think of something that's next level.
Yeah.
But that took long. That took like 3 years in the making. To go from that very first idea to then, especially we wanted to film it in the UK, and you know what the weather's like here. So, and supposedly we needed this wind speed that comes around once a year, and it comes around in like December. And so I was waiting all year. The amount of times that I would drive down to like Bristol to think that we were going to fly that time or this and that, and we get down there, get to the airfield at like 3 a.m, and then or whatever to start pumping everything up, and then we're like, nah, there's a tiny breeze. I'm like, what? It's not even windy, man. Like, let's just do it. But yeah, sure enough though, it came round. It finally came round, and we got up there. But it was like -5 as well. It was super cold when we were up there, so it was like freezing. And also, it swings a lot as well. You can't see that in the video, but that thing was like a pendulum. It was horrible to ride, honestly. Like it was like being on a boat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess when you got like coping, you have to be really accurate, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, like a case by that much is quite brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which way was it swinging? Was it
Always.
like you were pushing it out and then you were overshooting, or was it?
So as you pump, it's like going away from you.
Yeah.
And then as you land again, it's the other side feels like it's coming back at you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so you're either casing or you're having to pull back or you're having to push through. Like, and then you're also trying to do like tricks on that as well. So it's like, it was hard to ride. And then I also had to ride with a parachute on.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
how did you learn to skydive? Or?
Nah. So originally I actually wanted to, this was my whole process. I wanted to learn to skydive, and at the end of it I wanted to jump out and do it. But I think we thought it was going to be an easier project than it was. And they were saying that I think it takes at least 6 months to do your license. Okay. And then also the height I was at, you needed to be like a pro level, because
like
I was
jumping.
Yeah. Because I was at just above 2,500 feet.
Yeah.
So that was kind of threw out the window. And then I was like, well, I don't want to ride with a parachute on or anything like that. And they were like, well, you need to, because if you fall over that side, you're dead. And I was like, well, people are going to think I'm going to jump out of this and that. But I was like, I'll be fine. But then they're like, but yeah, I'm glad that I did have it on. But that went off automatically. So
how did it? So
if I'd have went over the side, that goes off, but it takes 10 seconds to deploy. And then 10 seconds, you fall 1,000 feet. And I was only 2.5. So the guy was like, it's designed to save your life, not your legs. I was like, all right, nice one. But thankfully it never went. I was more scared of like doing a tabletop over the hip and catching the ripcord, because you could pull it as well. But I was like, if I get caught, you know how when you do a tabletop and you get caught in your t-shirt sometimes?
Yeah.
I was like picturing me setting this parachute off in the bowl and then getting dragged out or something. Do you know what I mean? But you said go with it if that happens. Just go over the side. Well, I'm not going over the side, mate. I'll be fighting to get it off.
Somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can't imagine someone telling me that.
Yeah.
Just go with it, mate. Like smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, just
go with it, mate. Don't worry. Honestly, don't worry about it.
Like mental, but
we came to that film premiere.
Yeah.
And it was so badass to see. Like, obviously we got to see the bowl in person, which is way bigger than I think it looks on film.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was the actual documentary part of it. Has that ever been released? Because that was fascinating. I've seen the edit.
Yeah,
the actual documentary is that out? Is it?
So it's on. Okay. I think it's on Rebel site.
The balloon pilot was such a character.
Yeah, he was a genius.
He was brilliant. Because I guess projects like that, you end up quite close with the people that you're working with.
Yeah, but that's what I like. It's like two totally. I'd never ever like hang around with that guy or anything like. But it's brought us together. Like everyone on that, and like even everyone at like Rebel Racing and stuff. Like to work alongside with those guys. Yeah. Like it was such a massive bunch of people. This one.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was cool. And then Pete Dalby, the pilot, was just like, he just knew he could do it right away. But I think and I was like, I didn't really know he did, but he obviously like an older guy that, and, like, and I was like, I don't know if this guy realizes what he's going to be flying here. Like this is pretty gnarly. But I got it, and he was smart though, because I was like, I remember just thinking, oh come on man, just fly it. But he was like, no, it needs to be right, and and he was right. I was more scared of the landing. Because it was land. I was like, it's going to flip, and then it's going to thingy us. We're all going to burn to death or something like that. That's what I thought was going to happen. So I remember it taking off, and everyone, we were all so nervous. Like, how are we going to land this?
Yeah,
it's heavy.
You tested it a bit first, right? Just going up a bit. No, the first flight is the
straight up. We didn't mess around because we didn't have the weather window, so we were just off. We went, figure it out. Or another thing I thought was like, what if it falls from beneath? Like, and that, not only I would die, but those boys would end up at the moon or something like that. I'd just be going up, because you think of the weight on that and then cut that. They'd be gone. At least I've got the chute on. You know what I mean? Like
they're just waiting for it all to. I don't really understand how hot air balloons work, if I'm honest, but I can only imagine you're just sort of waiting there like, it's going to have to come down in a minute.
And the gnarly thing is, like, I never knew, but when you fly a hot air balloon, you never know where you're going to land. You know, roughly, like within a couple of miles or wherever, but you don't know.
It's pretty YOLO, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite YOLO. It's a YOLO activity, hot air ballooning.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's quite cool.
Yeah, they just land wherever really, and then just kind of beg for forgiveness, like just saying like sorry. Yeah, but but that was
into someone's pergola.
I feel like Is there a project Red Bull I've ever said no to? That must be one of the
good man to ask.
Yeah, that must be one of the bigger, with the amount of funds for the bowl and blah blah blah.
Like I feel like I've been dead lucky. Like a lot of mine have went through, but like I'm super fortunate for it. But
and it's probably a silly question, but is it a case of literally you sit down with Matt or whoever and you like work out what this thing is going to cost?
Yeah, each year,
and then pitch it and hope that you can get it.
Yeah, I don't even go through any of that. I just sketch up whatever and think, and I'll, yeah, it's flat.
Send a photo.
Yeah,
over.
yeah, literally, yeah. That's a WhatsApp. And I'll take a photo of my drawings and send it and write something, and then and then fortunate enough, I've got a lot of green lights, but yeah, you need to be careful what you say, because you never know what you never know what you're gonna end up doing, you know. But
you end up in a helicopter in Dubai.
I know, yeah. That makes me think that I'm like, there's so many, there's so much more things to do it. There are so many more project ideas that no one's done before. They're waiting to be done, but it's just like, what is it? Like, but there's millions out there to think about. But so I'm forever thinking what's next and what can you do. But I've got a bunch actually, so hopefully they make it through and get another green light. But
it's cool. You see that as your job. Is coming up with crazy ideas to put bikes.
Ridiculous things.
Wild, bro. Holy.
Okay. Hey, man, what an episode that was. You did amazing in it.
And so did you.
You shone like a star.
You shone like a moon.
Can we also put something up here that you can click on for the next episode?
How about we put a subscribe up there in the middle?
Yeah,
we're going to put a video we think that our lovely companionship will love on your face.
On my face?
Yeah.
So
and
they
on
can't see me now?
Gone. And on my face, another video that we think people will love. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe. You guys are the best.
Peace and love.